Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow. So we are getting some latter rain and it's wonderful. We did our first family holiday get together yesterday and I didn't get to water, so God actually watered for me. I just love it when He does things right when we want it. Isn't that wonderful? But I know He cares for us more than to just do that all the time. I hope I remember that when it doesn't happen the way I want it to. But I certainly want to thank Him for letting it happen today and any other time He does that. That's wonderful. The sedums are putting on their fall colors today too. And the hostas putting on their pretty fall colors. I guess they just needed a little rain, a little moisture to go ahead and change over. Also, when I went to our family get together, my husband's sister-in-law gave me a book that she wrote, and the story behind it is that when we actually met, we married twin brothers. My husband and her husband are twins. So when we first met, we were visiting with each other, and she said that she would someday like to write a book, but she said, I don't know if I'll ever really do it, but I would like to. It's in my heart to do it. And I said, oh, I've always felt that same way since I was 15 years old. And she said, well, I just want to tell just my testimony. And I said, that's what I was fixing to say. And so we had that between us in the background for all these years, and now she's finished with her book. I actually do have a little bit of mine started, but not enough to say very much about it. But hopefully someday I will. And if you want to look up her book, it's called Valley of Joy by Glenda Palmer Kuhn. I think it's on ebooks, I think Amazon. So, and she waited to give me the actual book because that's what I wanted. I just prefer it. I'm old school. We all know that. So, you know, it's wonderful when you have something in your heart for many, many years and it comes to fruition and it's real and ready and done. And that's how I feel about my little iMovies that I made for my sisters. I'm so grateful to have gotten to do it because, you know, when you think I would like to, I don't know if I'll ever find the time. And then one day you get started and it just kind of consumes you for 2 years, and then finally it's over and you've done it, and it's a good feeling. I'm sure when my sisters look back on look up on the movie itself, they'll look back at the things that happened in their lives and be so aware of Christ being in their lives and caring for them and loving them and bringing them thus far in life, and just the hope of eternal life, and just it's just amazing to have, you know, like an hour, your whole life story, the highlights of it, and you can look back on it and just, I don't know how to tell you, but I'm sure you know if you even just sat down and look at a photo album and you say, remember when? And oh, I forgot about this person, or I forgot about that experience, and it actually shaped my life. There's just so many things in life that God has been so good to us, and we just want to appreciate it, and just appreciate that He allowed us to do some of those things that were in our heart to do. I believe He put those things in our heart because He wanted those things done, and He probably picked the person that He thought would actually do it. I hope I actually write my book, and I know mine is not going to be going as far as Glenda's did because she was a missionary in Bulgaria, but it's still, you know, that little song we used to sing, if just a cup of water I place within your hand, then just a cup of water is all that I demand. So all we really need to do is just do whatever God calls us to do. And then of course it does go on to say, but if from death to living they can my glory see, then lift your cross and follow close to me. On my Instagram post this morning, I put the zinnias are almost all gone or already looking, but look at these. They just perked right up. Sometimes we just need a cool drink of water. But some of these, of course, are ready to be taken off of here and used for seed for next year. I'll probably go for these fuller ones. I like them the best, but these little single ones are pretty too, and especially sometimes this one was one of them, but you can't tell it now, but it had so many colors. When their colors just blend into each other and make a rainbow, that always catches my eye. Here's more of the sedum that's changing its colors. It'll be so beautiful for a while before it turns brown. Look, here's a before shot. I'll hope to come out and get you the after shot when all these buds open up into glorious bloom. And I definitely spoke too soon about the zinnias looking all ready, because after that rain, look, even this little one that was beginning to fade a bit just perked right back up. And when I say little one, I mean this big one. Just look through here at that beautiful red canna. And this little yellow yarrow, when it blooms a pretty yellow. And this is one that needs dividing, but now I think I'll have to wait till spring, because I've just waited a little long, even though we are going to have a little bit more warm weather, I believe, or before it goes freezing, put it that way. And actually sometimes you can do this even later than I do it, because a lot of time, unless the ground freezes, they will go ahead and their little roots will be busy growing and settling in, so that they'll make it through the winter. But you don't ever know that. And in Oklahoma, lots of times we have hard freezes, and then it'll get nice again, so we'll see what will happen. But I do want to try to remember, at least by spring, to dig this up, divide it. And I love to do that in the fall, because spring is too busy to do it. I may not get it done then, because all this will turn brown. All of it will have to be cleaned out and taken to the landfill or to our little dumping site that our church lets us use the ravine at the church. So all of this will have to be taken care of in the spring, and then planting, and it's just so busy that usually the fall is my perfect time, or the better time, put it that way, to do this. But I want to try to remember, this is kind of to remind myself to divide this in the spring if at all possible. And this little not yarrow, I just got through doing the yarrow, but Gaura. This Gaura would look so pretty with that yellow yarrow, the little umbrels, and then this little tiny floating around but whirling butterflies. Gaura would be pretty together. I'm not sure that they bloom at the same time. My Gaura has done the best this fall, but sometimes it does bloom earlier too, so I may try a little bit of that together just to see, because I found that I really appreciate yellow and pink together in the garden. Look at all my plastic bags, and I need to put more on to cover things, but actually trying to get away from showing you plastic bags. But I wanted to show you this beautiful crepe myrtle turning its fall colors also. So some of my plans are to get my Christmas tree up, and then to clean out a portion of the garden each day and make something that I will take to my sister's Thanksgiving dinner each day that I can. Of course, you know, things will come up that will prevent that from happening, so I'll have to do other things. As a matter of fact, we have a funeral service to go to tomorrow, so life just gets so busy and stays so busy, which is, it's a good thing, but it's also sometimes you just wish you could get caught up and just rest, or at least I certainly do. But I had to come out today because the rain and the overcast skies just make the color pop in the garden and makes everything just perk up and look fresh, and I love that. And I love showing that to you. You know what this little decor says? Let me get over there closer where you can see. And it says, "Wishes come true in a garden." Whoa, look at this. I just have to go get this for you. Isn't that beautiful? This is one of my favorite iris, and I knew I had some that bloom in the spring and again in the fall, but I'd kind of given up on them. Matter of fact, I was kind of wishing I had all these trimmed down, but maybe I'm glad again that I waited a little too late and didn't get around to it, because look at that beauty. And this little white Gara or swirling or whirling butterflies is also one that I want to dig out, divide, and put in other places. I have some places in the front where I want this along the fence, and I want to get some of this, probably divide this and put it in places, or I may want to purchase some different colors of this. And this is hardy geranium. It makes a pretty little mound, and it grows up pretty tall, and it blooms sporadically off and on, and it's just a pretty little plant. And for several years I had it growing under these, and I really don't know what caused it to die out. It died out here. I don't think it was because I put these are bulbs. They're the summer onion allium. I really do like them a lot. But I also want my geranium there, which I think it will grow with them. You can tell there is some here. See these leaves? This foliage. And it usually covers up this little plant stand. And then I usually have to clip it away from the top of it so you can see the little angel, or let it hide her for a while and clip her for the fall tour is what I've been doing. But I want to replace some over here where it's died out for whatever reason. It could have been it was choked out, but more likely it was eaten out by a mole or some type of rodent. This little container is beginning to change to its fall colors too, but it's not there yet, because when this one really gets gorgeous, it'll be many shades of pink and orange and yellow, and it's just so eye-poppingly beautiful. And I don't know if we'll get more rain or not, but our rain gauge is already showing like 3/4 of an inch, and so that's a lot to be grateful for our latter rain. Here we are back to the job that I finished day before yesterday, and I was so tired. Oh my goodness, I didn't even remember to charge my phone. My daughter tried to call me and of course couldn't get me, but she got my husband, so we were saved. It was fine, but still I was too tired to function, and I hate when that happens. But I just love it when you look around and hey, things are done. That's a wonderful thing right there. But I'm actually also looking for that day when I get things caught up to the point that I can sit back and say, well, gosh, what can I do now? But that's a long time coming, I'm afraid. I've solicited my husband to help me with these trees I was telling you about the other day, but here is one of them right here, and we're going to try to pull these up with I'll say pliers, but these are actually channel locks, and pliers are a little bit easier, I think, but we don't seem to find our pliers, so
It did break.
okay, it broke off, so we're going back for the root now. I think we may end up having to buy some pliers, because that I don't think is ever going to do it, really. Aha. I stand corrected. So here's the next one. It doesn't look as big, but I think it may have been there longer, so it may be harder to get at.
Get down in there a little bit.
And yes, I can get these out myself with pliers, but I can't do it and get a picture of it for you.
Ooh, broke off. Ooh. That's tough.
Here, babe, let me hold the ones. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, so you can get both hands on it. I can hold both others. Okay, I think that one broke off, but we may not be able to get it until it comes back out again in the spring.
Let me try it again.
Broke off again, didn't it? Oh, and look, while we were at my husband's niece's house, where actually our get-together was, she gave me one of those hairy balls that will have seed in it. And then this fell off of one of her cactus, or not cactus, but succulents. And I'm going to try to grow a succulent and keep it through the winter. Don't laugh. Also, I took just a little cutting from her candelabra plant, and I'm going to see if I can root it and maybe save it through the winter and have it next season in the garden. And this spring I want to think about this. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that I want to move this red salvia from right here. It's kind of far out close to the path, and it does spread a little. These are not invasive, but they do spread somewhat, and I would like, there's some more of the fall blooming iris. They've been blooming for a while, so, and I see one of those dreaded hateful bugs. Oh my goodness, there's not one on here. This thing is covered with them. Pardon me while I go find the insecticide. So I just sprayed that, and I also sprayed this. I didn't see any on it, but I didn't want them to just move over to it. And I know it looks all haggardy looking anyway, but I want some seed from this, and so I'm hoping it stays there long enough to dry and I get my seed for next year from this beautiful white cosmos. Also went back to my little iris over here because I thought, well, they may just move right over to it if I can get them off of this one. And I sprayed it, but I see there's still at least one of them crawling around on there. You can see it. But I hope he goes ahead and dies. I'm not going to squash him because I think he's probably on his way out, hopefully. But back to my little salvia. I think I'm going to take it out because I do have this one. I would not want to be without them. And I do have one on the other side of the garden in the back. So I want to keep some. And if I take this out, I'll want to find another spot for it. So I'll be looking around to see where I think it would look pretty. Or I may decide, well, it looks pretty here to have one on either side of this little trellis. But I've got to think about that one. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.